finale! This week has been a week of videos. Oh my goodness. We got the rest of the FNAF birthday uploaded. Guys, I am so sorry that didn't work. I tried to upload the full video and essentially all of my technology started crashing on me. So I was like, okay, I'm taking a break. So I kind of made up for it this week by uploading both of them separately, and the books of tea, and the comics still on Friday. So this week was a little insane of uploading, but sometimes it happens. It's fun. But yeah, guys, I'm so hello, Elsie Rosie here, and welcome back to the O Ship Show. At the time of this recording, I'm actually wearing a Cloak brand shirt, not sponsored at all. I want to make that clear. It's more the fact that Jacksepticeye is back from break, and I absolutely love him. So I wanted to show my support and be like, yes, he's back. Take care of your mental health and physical health, and then come back and return to us. Woo! And now, guys, I hope you guys are all ready for the next chapter of Lost Golden Boys. Let's see what happened with our golden boys. Let's get started. Previously on The Lost Golden Boy. As soon as Charlie made eye contact with Zach practically bursted out into a cheer. Come on, my dad says that you can come over to my house. He wasn't able to hold that back any longer. The two boys leaned in close, both oblivious to the little hearts that had formed between their two plushies, whose smiles had changed ever so slightly. Charlie nodded his head, giving his plushie a little squeeze. Awesome! Let's go! Golden and Spring shared a glance. They had discussed multiple times, wondering exactly about the relationship between Zach and Charlie. Yes, they were children, but was there a chance that they liked each other? Spring definitely thought that they were a couple. Maybe they weren't going to be official now, but maybe someday. Goldie believed they were just best friends. And honestly, neither of them knew the answer, and that was okay. Bye, kids, they called, waving their paws goodbye. Spring grinned down at Zach, and Zach matched that smile, showing a missing tooth. Charlie curled his shoulders in and tilted his chin down. He held the golden plush close to his chest. He glanced up, flashing a smile to the golden animatronics. Bye, Spring. Bye, Goldie, he whispered, while Zach said, Bye, Spring. Bye, Goldie. With Zach's free hand, he reached down and took Charlie's hand in his own. Come on, let's go. Zach was practically vibrating. He was so excited to have this extra time with just Charlie. It was rare that they hung out, just the two of them. Well, Zach didn't count hanging out with the whole group as just him time with Charlie. He wanted just time with Charlie. Charlie's dark eyes darted down and focused on their intertwined fingers. He found himself blush brightly. Was there something in his stomach? Why did he feel so funny? Oh, okay, he responded back. Golden felt like he had been in a similar situation earlier when Spring had held his paw. He knew exactly how Charlie felt. Golden's gaze flickered down to the plushies, both of them seeming very pleased with their new people. Best buds, secret crushes, or possibly both? The two children turned around and shifted their plushies up to their shoulder, neither letting their hands go too far away from each other. It could be said that Spring's plush had nuzzled just a touch into Golden's plush. But could that also just be their owners shifting? That's what the parents thought as they turned away to walk to their cars and leave the pizzeria behind. Spring Bonnie and Golden Freddy knew better, though. They saw the two little plushies raise their paws and wave to their originals. The two stuffed animals clasped their paws together and promised to protect their new children. Spring chuckled, knowing that Zack and Charlie had their own little protectors with them for as long as they kept those two. Golden hummed in response, and the two gave a wave to their plushies. Usually, once the show was done, that meant that Spring and Golden had the whole pizzeria to themselves, and they could do whatever they pleased. Usually that meant pizza parties, video games, and impromptu songs. Golden would get these precious moments with just Spring, and he loved those. And Spring loved every moment he could get with just Golden without an audience. But tonight was not that kind of night. Instead, when Spring Bonnie and Golden Freddy turned to leave, ready to go and take on the world with their new adventures, a repair guy came up to them. He was one of the extra workers that Scott had agreed to have on staff while he was figuring things out what to do with his family. Repair Dude, as Golden remembered him by, was always focused just on the music. Great show, you two! But Spring, I think you were a little bit off key. Come in the back, and we'll have you good as new in no time. Spring nodded to the command, the repairman shuffling off to the back. Be there in a minute, Spring called. But as soon as he was out of earshot, Spring pursed his lips together. His ears spread to the left and right. He hated repairs. It wasn't the most comfortable thing getting surgery while you were still awake. If they were doing his throat, though, then that meant he may end up being turned off until morning for a whole set reboot. But regardless of his state of consciousness, getting repairs done meant that he missed out on a night with his best friend. Spring didn't like that thought at all. Spring turned back to Goldie. Looks like I'll just have to embrace this moment with Golden. He closed his eyes. Hey, little Goldie! Those simple words were echoing through the present-day Golden Freddy. His head had begun to slump down to his chest. His bangs covered his eyes. His mind was trapped in the memories of that fateful day. Golden's head fell altogether, and his top hat fell along with it. His paws reached forward to catch it. His eyes were blurring over as he looked down the smooth top. He flicked his wrist to look inside the navy abyss. He rose the hat closer to his face, his glowing eyes searching for it. His mind was back at that party. Spring stood there before him and smiled. If Golden focused hard enough, he could feel Spring's gaze. He didn't dare look up to face the empty stage. He wished he could pause this moment, back in the past where everything was okay, where he had the show, he had the kids, but most importantly, he would have Spring. Mind holding my bow tie while I go get repaired in the back? Spring's voice echoed. Golden looked down. At the very bottom of his famous top hat was Spring's bow tie. From the last time Golden had saw him, he had kept it all this time, never once leaving his stage without it. It had scared him so much when the balloon children had taken it away. He was worried that he would lose this last shred of Spring forever. Ever since Spring had vanished, the diner was bought out by a private investor who scrubbed any record of Spring Bonnie away. Golden was lucky to remain. Scott had stored him away when they expanded, so he wouldn't be taken away. Golden reached down into his hat. His fingers brushed
ever so slightly against the fabric. His fingers traced back and hooked into a secret compartment at the very top of his hat, where Spring used to hide extra golden plushies. And where now Golden hid Spring's bow tie, away from the world. His fingers clutched the bow tie, but holding it like it was a piece of glass, trying his hardest not to ruffle the fabric. Truthfully, he was afraid that it would fall apart if he touched it just a little too hard. The ribbon slid free from its home and rested safely in Golden's paw. Both of Golden's paws cradled the treasure, his top hat crashing down to the stage. His legs were shaking wildly. He went down to his knees, his top hat rolling away from its owner. Golden felt like his world was crashing down around him. His mind wouldn't stop on the last time that he had saw Spring. It continued. It flashed towards the sleepless nights, the searching every party room, the checking under the tables and searching the closets, the sense of growing dread that he had lost his best friend, that he had lost Spring forever. Golden's paws started to shake so badly that he was afraid he would drop the ribbon. His once glowing eyes were dimming, and his very soul felt like it was dying. He held the bow tie up to his face, searching the ruby bow tie for answers of where Spring had disappeared to. Spring, where are you? Golden's voice was shaking. His eyes were filling with a steady stream of tears, wishing with all of his might that for once, just this once, he would get an answer. He would find Spring, his best friend, and he would bare his soul. He wouldn't have to bear the soul-crushing guilt any longer. But no answer came. It had never come before, so why would it come now? Golden clung the bow tie to his chest, cradling it, finally allowing the tears to fall from his cheeks. Come back to me. He couldn't stop shaking. By refusing to remember those last few hours of Spring and only remembering the bad, then to allowing himself to look back at them all over again was shattering his heart. He couldn't breathe, he couldn't think, he couldn't focus on anything but that little bow tie in his hands. He reached down and pressed his lips to it. Please, he begged, hoping this time his wish would be granted. His old stage that he had shared of Spring had begun to shift. The curtains began to ruffle and slash and crawl out, forcing items to fall into disarray. Then the curtains cemented to the sides of the stage, closing the circle and trapping the animatronic inside. The stage had begun to flood with a thick gray fog, with slashes of purple and black floating and circling around him. All around Golden, who was too lost in his own grief to understand the position that he was in. How sweet. A voice snaked through the fog and shot ice straight into Golden's heart. His ears tensed, folding back against his head. He tried to cling the ribbon tight, holding on to it, but he felt his arms fall to his lap. The sense of dread and panic and guilt flooded him. He tilted his head up and whimpered out into the fog. He was trapped. He was lost. There was no way out. He felt an icy hand slide against his cheek. Before his eyes, the fog began to spin into a tornado, spinning, and from the chaos was Purple Man. He was floating, his head tilting to the side, his feet rising to the ceiling. He floated over Golden. But he's never coming back. Purple purred, his claws scratching against Golden's cheek.
Oh, my baby boy, no! Also, Purple, get away from Golden. Oh my god, my dog looks so spooked right now. Oli, I am sorry, I am angry. Purple, no, get away from my boy. Also, can someone please hug Golden? Oh my goodness, I completely forgot that I was so mean to him. Oh my goodness. Also, guys, I gotta say, the opening scene of this comic where you see Golden going through that last memory that he had of spring, I did not realize when I was writing it, I didn't realize it would flow so seamlessly well with this, with like the huge flashback that happens. I wanted to include a flashback of the diner because we never get the flashback of the diner. Because, Scott, I appreciate the pixel games, but I want more. I want more, sir. I want more. Give me more. So, but yeah, I am just very excited for it. And guys, I hope you guys are all ready for next week for our next chapter of The Lost Golden Boys. See you guys next time.